When we're finding new sponsors for the channel, we typically try to help dudes, dude improvement, help dude confidence, things of that nature. So you're probably asking, Voch, what type of dudes are we helping today? Short dudes that are tied a line on their Tinder profiles. Now, Conzeri is a shoe that adds 2.8 inches to your overall height. So if you're 5'10", you put on a pair of Conzeris, all of a sudden you're 6 foot. I don't have a problem with this, right? Because women have all types of advantages that make them confident. That's why they get attitudes when you ask them to go to pool parties. But Conzeris, I'm willing to die with the lie in Conzeris. You can eat in them, sleep in them, you can shower in them, put them on, you're a little taller, now you can flirt with women without looking up at them. For example, I'm 6'1", but if I put on a pair of Conzeris, I'm officially big enough to play offensive line in the NFL. You see how this can change your life at an instant. So Voch says this, you're gonna need a little bit more money with all this new success in your dating life. So I wanna save you some. Go to Conzeri.com, buy everything over there. Everything on the site already is 30% off, but you can get an additional 15 at checkout using promo code VOCH, V-O-C-H, Voch, for an additional 15 on top of the 30. That's a total 45% at Conzeri.com using promo code VOCH. All right, go to Tinder, add 2.8 inches to your height. Congratulations, big fella. Shouts out to John Machota. I don't know if he knows me, but he follows me on Twitter, so that means he knows me, okay? On The Athletic, he came out with this list. I got the list right here. He came out with this list. He says the top 10 most important players by John Machota, basically talking about guys that are under the microscope. And I would imagine that these top 10 guys are guys that are most important to the success of the 2023 Dallas Cowboys. Okay, so I'm going to run down that 10 through 1. I'm just going to give my basic thoughts. Some of these guys I'm going to have a lot to say. For the rest of them, maybe not so much, but then I'm going to give you my overall thoughts at the end of this top list and tell you if I agree or disagree with it or not. So appreciate you, John Machota, for this content today. All right. At number 10, he has Brandin Cooks on this list. Now, you're gonna see this common trend amongst me talking about all these guys. It's not just this player's impact, but it's what this player does for other people, and it's how this player is gonna navigate in context with these other players, right? So Brandin Cooks, in which it's interesting how some Cowboy fans are kind of down on Brandin Cooks. That just means that they haven't watched enough film, or they just haven't been keeping up with the product that he puts on the field. But the thing that's interesting about Brandin Cooks is, we've seen these movies to where Noah Brown is your second best wide receiver, or we get T.Y. Hilton, he shows up for Christmas and he's all of a sudden one of your best wide receivers, right? It's just, and your offense was still an offense that could thrive despite that, which says a lot about my quarterback, that my quarterback is able to elevate guys like, Dalton Schultz, guys like Noah Brown, guys like, post-Christmas T.Y. Hilton, or whatever you want to call him. But we have a guy in Brandin Cooks, and I don't think Brandin Cooks ever had a chance to be a true number 2 receiver behind someone else being the main threat. Like he's been in some situations where he's had some top-tier tight ends, but when has Brandin Cooks ever showed up and just not had to be the number 1 guy? And even in those situations, he's a dude that still has multiple 1,000-yard seasons. So you take that dude, you plug him into this offense, who has a top-tier quarterback already. This isn't just some miscellaneous character throwing him the football. And even when Brandin Cooks has miscellaneous characters throwing him the football, he is able to be successful. But Dak Prescott's throwing him the football. He's going to be, on the back end of teams or defenses paying attention to CeeDee Lamb. This is going to be on the back of, we'll talk about this character later, your new and improved run game situation. I don't see there being the situation where Brandin Cooks isn't going to step in and just be fantastic for you. But the good thing about it, if Noah Brown is your second best wide receiver, then you can just put a cornerback on Noah Brown, and then you can funnel all your energy to CeeDee Lamb, or you can funnel your energy to Dak's favorite target, who may be tight end or something like that. You can funnel your energy to running back. Well, not only is Brandin Cooks better than Noah Brown, but Brandin Cooks is a legitimate take the top off of your defense guy. So Brandin Cooks in that way is going to make the rest of the product better. So this should be fun. Move on to number 9. Okay, 3 minutes, that ain't bad. Let's move on to number 9, Tyler Smith. Now, this is kind of interesting to me because we're talking about, importance to this season. In my mind, I think Tyler Smith just has to take the next step as a young guy, right? Tyler just has to be off-season peanut butter guy, show up and just, don't regress guy. Of course we want Tyler to be better, but what so important about Tyler this year as opposed to like last year is that we're really counting on Tyler to be one of the better dudes on the offensive line. Last year, Tyler got a lot of his, props and happy feelings because he did a little better than what we thought he was going to do. So if that's going to be the case, that means we were living in this world where we were prepared for Tyler Smith to be a developing guy, and anything that we got from him was just kind of going to be extra. But that's not going to be the case this year with Tyler Smith. This year, we're counting on Tyler Smith to be a dude for you. So that means he's going to be better. He's going to need to be better than he was last year. Now, is that impossible for Tyler Smith? No, I don't think that's impossible. I think, I think he will be better. I think he's going to come back because he's a dude that we know, can work really hard. But if Tyron's going to be a dude that has question marks for you, if Terrence Steele's going to be a dude that's coming off of injury, which is basically a question mark also, then Tyler Smith needs to be a dude that you could depend on, because right now we know we can depend on Zack Martin. Tyler Smith needs to be one of those guys also. After that, we got Tyler Biadasz. Now, Tyler Biadasz, I kind of agree with this also, him being the 8th most important player because, you just need this offense to not lose any steps, right? And I'll just go ahead and say this, spoiler alert, right? There's 3 defensive players on this top 10 list that John Machota put down. We ain't got to go over those 3 players. We'll get there whenever we get there, but there's 3 defensive players. And if y'all can't do basic math, I mean, it's 7 offensive players, right? That's how you get 10. So there's 7 offensive players on this list. And what this means to me, just looking at this list, what this means to me, John Machota is saying that, hey, we have faith in what the defense is doing. We have faith in what Dan and the boys are doing. I don't have I'm just speaking for John Machota. I'm assuming he doesn't have a concern in the world for what this defense is going to be. There's concerns on these offenses though, or just for the players on this offense. So if there's anybody that I would love to just show up and just count on them dudes to be good, it's going to be a guy like Tyler Biadasz. Tyler Biadasz is a dude that we need to be good. Now, Tyler Biadasz is a guy, he is one of Duke Manyweather's children. He went to the Duke Manyweather School of impressive offensive line talent, and he improved and he got better. He worked with Terrence, he worked with Tyler Smith also. So in this whole thing with Tyler Biadasz being number 8 on this list, this another probably pick for, hey, Tyler Biadasz, just don't go backwards. If you keep going forward, then we can live here. We can live in this space to where, Tyler, you may not be special, but you're one of the better one of the better centers in the league here. I know there's a lot of Cowboy fans that don't think Tyler Biadasz is all that impressive, and to be fair, he may not be all that impressive, but being average as a center may be more than what other teams, what teams in the league don't have. I know I just botched that one. Being average is better than what other teams have in the league right now. So having an average center still could mean that you have a top 10 one. You know what I mean? So Tyler Biadasz being a guy that's going to be on this team for you, him continuing to move forward and make his progression and get another round of peanut butter in him. Hopefully he could be a long-term starter for you, and hopefully at the contract negotiation tables he doesn't pull, hey, I'm Pro Bowler Tyler Biadasz. So fix that. Next on the list is Leighton Vander Esch. I don't have to speak on Vander Esch too much. We know how important Vander Esch is to this defense. And it's not that Vander Esch is this super elite player, but it just seems that when Vander Esch is healthy, this thing just kind of functions a little bit better. And as a linebacker, just think about the linebacker room. It's Vander Esch and a bunch of young kids, Harper, Clark, Cox is what I meant to say. You just got a bunch of young dudes and they're overshown, depending on what you're going to do with some of the undrafted guys like Wheat and Land. You just got a lot of young guys in that linebacker room. So yeah, Vander Esch, we need you to be a leader to those young dudes. We need you to be healthy. We need you to be on the field and play well, because we just basically got kids at linebacker trying to figure this thing out. Now, will this be Vander Esch's last go as a Dallas Cowboy, and after that we're just going to lean on some of the young dudes to come in and play linebacker? That might be the case, but as of now, Vander Esch needs to be a dude. Zack Martin on this list, we ain't got to hang around on Zack Martin too long. Zack Martin needs to be good for the same reason that Tyler Smith and Tyler Biadasz need to be good. So we ain't got to hang around that for too long. But if I know anything about Kratos, he's probably going to be good. However, we do need to be looking for some contingency plans over the next 3 or 4 years, because Zack ain't going to last forever. Okay. All right. Now at number 5, Trey Diggs is here. And let me tell you what's going to be so important for Trey Diggs. I need Trey Diggs to just be who he is, right? I need Trey to just continue to be consistent with how good he is. And there's a lot of people outside the Cowboy fandom that don't understand how good Trey Diggs is. Well, he's a guy that if we roll up on the Bengals, we don't hear from Jamar Chase. We roll up on the Vikings, we don't really hear from Justin Jefferson. We roll up against the Washington Football Wizards. Scary Terry ain't so scary. He doesn't even exist, right? So we can say these things about Trey Diggs all we want to, giving up big plays. Yeah, I would like for Trey Diggs to not give up the big double move plays. But besides that, there was a time going into last year to where teams just didn't throw at Trey Diggs. That could be a couple things. One, throwing at Trey Diggs, he's such a great ball hawk type of guy that he just forces turnovers. But also on that same token, it was just so easy to throw against cornerback too. That's why we need Trey Diggs to be really good this year. That's why we need Trey Diggs to be consistent. That's why we need Trey Diggs to just, hey bro, just be what you've been being. I know that ain't good English. I'm sorry. But let me tell you why that's so important, because we finally got help at cornerback too. It would be such a letdown. Trey at 5, he might need to be higher than this. It'll be such a letdown if Stephon Gilmore comes in and Gilmore is what we think he can be. And Gilmore is great. And Gilmore still shows flashes that he still got that lockdown in him and he got one more good year. And it'll be such a shame if we waste acquiring Stephon Gilmore just for Trey Diggs to take 2 steps back. That would be upsetting. Now, we go into this thing because we want Dan Quinn's defense to be Teflon. We want Dan Quinn's defense to be weaknessless. We want Dan Quinn's defense to be undefeatable and undisputable. And if there was any impediment versus defense, it was run game and it was cornerback too. Run game got fixed toward the end of the season. Now you take that and you add Mozzie to it. Okay, cool, fine. You just got better there. You fix cornerback too by adding Stephon Gilmore. Trey just got to keep being Trey, because now what's going to happen is teams are either going to throw at Gilmore, which is bad. Teams are going to throw at Bland, in which Bland got like 6 interceptions or something last year, or teams are going to throw at Trey Diggs, in which we'll still end up getting interceptions. Trey Diggs needs to be great for this 3 cornerback thing to be a real life thing. And somebody's like, well, Voch, but you're overrating DaRon Bland. Well, shit, he had 6 picks, sir. He gets picks when you try to pick on DaRon Bland, he gets picks. So nah. No. I'm not trying to hear it, Playboy. Number 4, CeeDee Lamb. This is incredibly easy. I don't have to explain to you why we need CeeDee Lamb to be great. And also kind of for the same reason why we need Trey to be great, because we get all this help to complement the DB room to complement Trey, right? What's the good of having Trey Diggs if your cornerback too is terrible, right? So that's why you go and get, Gilmore, things of that nature. Well, CeeDee Lamb is the reason why you go and get guys like Brandin Cooks. CeeDee Lamb is a guy that's your number 1 receiver, and he proved he was number 1 receiver. And if Dak was healthy for the whole season, CeeDee Lamb would definitely be pushing like 1,800 receiving yards last year. That sounds like hyperbole, but look up the numbers. Goofy. So when I look at CeeDee Lamb and what he did last year with Noah Brown and T.Y. Hilton around him, man, just imagine what CeeDee Lamb would look like with healthier Michael Gallup and Brandin Cooks around him. You understand? Jake Ferguson, we don't want to just overrate him, but if Jake Ferguson could just be better than Schultz, and to be fair, Schultz wasn't all that great. Schultz was being elevated by Dak Prescott. Somebody's gonna look at the numbers, but Voch, the numbers say Schultz was great, right? Because Dak elevated him, right? If Jake Ferguson physically can be better than the physical player that Dalton Schultz is, Dak will do the rest, is what I'm saying. Now, you take all those players that are better, then you insert CeeDee Lamb, then you insert our number 3 guy, Tony Pollard. Now you cooking with some damn grease. You understand what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and move on to Tony Pollard here. This was going to be the most important thing about Tony, is that, Tony Pollard was great with politics last year. Tony was I think he had like 1,000 yards and like 1,300 scrimmage yards, something like that. Can I get a number, nerd, in the chat box in the comment section? Let me know exactly what that was. Tony Pollard was a 1,300 total, let's just say 1,000-yard rusher, right? He was that with politics involved. Tony Pollard was great with Ezekiel Elliott politics involved. And this isn't a situation where we're going to go, all right, Voch, Zeke is on the team still, but Zeke has decided to play second fiddle to Tony Pollard, but Zeke still exists. No, because if Zeke is around, you feel pressure as whoever the hell to get Zeke involved. And whenever Zeke got the ball, we all Cowboy fans, man. We all know this. And there's some people that'll make Okoye, love you, bro, that'll make the case, hey, man, Zeke was hurt. Nah, man, Zeke just wasn't good. Zeke just wasn't good. Every time Zeke got the ball, we did a collective oh boy, right? Now we're in this world where we don't have to do a collective oh boy. Now we're in this world to where, hey, when Tony get the ball, good things happen. And that dude gets the ball first. That dude gets the ball most. That dude is kingpin with no politics. Now we're playing Ronald Jones, Deuce Vaughn politics with Tony Pollard. And that's great, right? We're not in this world to where, okay, well, the dude that we're forcing to start ain't good, but we're forcing him to start because of money. Man, we're forcing Tony to start, but Tony just incredible. We're forcing the incredible dude to start. Do you see how far we've come as an offense, right? So now we live in this world where, hey, when we hand the ball off, we don't have to worry about just a negative play, right? Oh, when Zeke gets the ball, it's just a negative play. Man, Tony getting the ball as the first guy. And if we need to give Tony a break, then Ronald Jones gets the ball. Ronald Jones is better than Ezekiel Elliott, but y'all not ready to hear that. Not 2016 Ezekiel Elliott, but like now Ezekiel Elliott, Ronald Jones is better than that dude. And go watch the film. Go listen to dudes around the league talk about him. Go listen to Biadasz and his boys. Biadasz like to do the segment where he talked to his GM friends around the league and shit. And all the GM friends, they like Ronald Jones a little more than Cowboy fans do. Like just listen around to what's being said about Ronald Jones. And then just my own Voch Lombardi opinion watching the film. Zeke just didn't have burst. Ronald got more burst than Zeke at this point in Zeke's career. Well, he's the second guy. Vaughn is the third guy. Malik Davis might not even make the team. Malik Davis is going to be fighting with Rico Dowdle now. But the fact that Tony's the guy now, and Tony's going to be the guy without Noah Brown having to be wide receiver too. Tony's going to be the guy without Dalton Schultz like being bad at blocks and shit. Like Tony's going to be the guy. You see where we're going here in this new and improved offense, to where we know Schottenheimer is a dude that can coordinate teams around pass catching running backs, and Kellen Moore's basically not. Kellen Moore's basically not. Sorry, he just is not. We've seen, and look up the numbers, we've seen Brian Schottenheimer get non-pass catching running backs involved in the passing game. Just imagine what he could do with the goddamn Tony Pollard. All right, man. The last two guys are Dak and Micah Parsons, right? And you know, we ain't got to talk too much about this. We know the business with Dak and Micah Parsons. If Dak is healthy, we good to go. If Micah is Micah, we're good to go. As long as both those two do, that's quarterback on offense and quarterback on defense, right? If Dak is healthy, I think we're good enough to beat anybody. If Micah is healthy, you take this defense that's good enough to beat people on its own. Like, this defense is already Teflon. If Micah Parsons didn't play, this defense would be Teflon by itself. And then there's the idea that you add Micah Parsons on top of the damn defense being Teflon, bro, man. Come on, man. Like, what else are we doing here? Man? Like, I think if you take away Micah's sack numbers, the Cowboys were still like top 10 in sacks last year, or some ridiculous number like that. So now you just take this dude who has the run game situation, who has an offense that's going to complement him and his crew as a defense. Now it's going to be, defense are going to be in more situations to where we're playing with the lead now. That's more pass rush opportunities. Teams to where if they didn't want to deal with Cowboys pass rush, they'll do a lot of these catch and throw concepts where they just catch and throw against cornerback 2, which is the right side of your screen, against cornerback 2. And what that'll end up being is that, oh, well, we're just going to throw the ball against Xavier Rhodes fast to keep from holding the ball for Micah Parsons. If you got these three cornerbacks that we feel great about, Diggs, Gilmore, and Bland, those three cornerbacks are going to make quarterbacks hold the ball a little bit longer. Either going to force the opportunity that it could be an interception, or they're going to hold the ball longer. If they hold the ball longer, that's one more tick that Micah Parsons gets to get there. That in itself, right? Micah Parsons, even if he didn't get all of the sacks in the world last year, he got the pressures and he got the hits. So now let's just say you add an extra tick to that thing. Now Micah gets to do Micah things, and if he ends up being a high double-digit sack guy, then that's just even better for your defense, right? Every Super Bowl we see there's some defensive effort at the end by some dude that just rolls up and just shows that he's better than everybody else, whether it be Chris Jones whooping somebody's ass or Aaron Donald whooping ass, right? There just needs to be a dude to just take over at the end. We got one of them dudes that could just show up and take over at the end. All right, but that's all depends. We just take care of our business in the regular season, then we'll see what happens. All right, hey, shouts out to John Machota, man. This is his top 10 most important Cowboy list, and I really don't disagree with him at all. As I just think about other players that I deem are important, none of them seem to crack this list here. So these are the 10 most important Cowboys going into next season, into the 2023 season, that we need the most success out of them, and we need them to take that next step so we can continue to grow. All right, shouts out to Conzeri. Y'all go get tall. Don't forget Conzeri promo code Voch to get a total of 45% with my own 15%, and the website's 30 already. Be sure to like the video, hit the sub button, and follow me on Twitter, VOCHLOMBARDI. Y'all hold it down with the Doski Wilson Peace Whiskey. Till next time, volume.